A weather alert for tonight is somewhat ratcheted back. It looks less likely for widespread severe thunderstorms, and our risk has gone down to just a level 1 out of 5 threat. The second round tomorrow night into Wednesday is still on in a big way. Severe thunderstorms likely, along with heavy rain threat and possible flooding. Outside right now, depends on where you are. Some areas got up to 1.5 inches of rain. That falling right along the Balcones Canyonlands area, northwest Travis County, about an hour ago. Here in Camp Mabry, Austin area, no rain, just a couple of sprinkles earlier, passing showers. Temperature currently at 80, our high just shy of 90 degrees. Quickly diminishing. Just watch as that storm, which dumped a lot of heavy rain and even some small hail, is literally evaporating before our eyes. So Andice, if this holds together, it may bring a downpour to Florence and areas along Highway 195 through northwest Williamson County, but it looks to be quickly diminishing. And there's honestly not that much going on farther to the south and west, so we may see a somewhat quiet night. Our thunder literally stolen by two systems, one that dropped huge tornadoes out in West Texas, west of Lubbock, and down south, also baseball-sized hail reported. So severe weather there, nothing here. Now, as we continue through the overnight, we haven't totally been lifted from the severe weather threat. We're still in that level 1 for a possible isolated strong to severe thunderstorm as we head toward daybreak tomorrow. Meanwhile, for tomorrow night into Wednesday, game on. Scattered severe thunderstorms are possible. Wind, hail, isolated tornado threat, heavy rain as well. We are all in that level 2 threat. So today's storms contingent on this front, initially a warm front, which is kind of stalled. Tomorrow's will be with a cold front pushing through, and that cold front should mean widespread heavy rain. Let's go hour by hour. This is going to look a lot different than what I showed you earlier in the afternoon and evening. Reason being, this current line and shower thunderstorm activity really doesn't look that impressive anymore, so we could go fairly dry for much of our area. Toward daybreak, we may start to see a few isolated storms develop. Some of them could be on the strong side, extending toward around 7, 8 a.m., and then we get a lull. Much of your day Tuesday will be spent waiting for the next round. High temperature right around 84 degrees. Here comes that next round. Right around this time tomorrow night, trudging through the hill country along and ahead of our next cold front. Here come the storms, the wind, the potential for hail as well, moving through the I-35 corridor around midnight and then making their way farther to the south. Everything clears by Wednesday morning, and after that, conditions rapidly improve, but be ready for 1 to 3 inches of possible rain, maybe some isolated higher spots. We'll be right back.
Hello. Look, Kevin's already typing away. Says good evening. Skippy says hi. Skippy says hi. Hello, how are you? Ewok's already gone to bed, so we just got one of them. Bob, what's going on? You say sure. Baking a sausage fry. So I came home and I had some shrimp pad thai. We had leftover Chinese and I guess technically shrimp pad thai would be Thai. But anyway, from a Chinese restaurant. And I was so hungry, so I had that first. And then I decided we would settle in for the chat. Everything's really quiet right now for us. The only thing that I'm watching now is out west of San Angelo, there's a new storm that has a warning on it. And the question is, will that hold together and make its way toward our area? It might not. What is likely, though, is that with the cold front that's coming through, oh, it's echoing. Oh, sorry. The other day I was doing some weird stuff, and I think that's why it's echoing. All right, what happens if I do that? You guys can still hear me? My volume looks kind of low, though. Let's see if I can pull it up a little bit. Now I muted myself. You can hear me, and I'm probably kind of low on the volume. Let's see, how's that? Is that better? Or does that make the music louder? I think that makes the music louder. Hold on. My hidden talent, that's right. Hello. Let's see. I was futzing around with it the other day, doing a 2 mic setup with Austin, our weekend meteorologist. So that is likely why it was doing the strange reverb. And I didn't check it since then because I didn't frankly think I needed to. I'm not going to worry about that. Omar says we can hear you. Fabulous. I just thought it might be too low as far as the volume is concerned. We'll just move right along. We'll move right along to the weather graphics, and hopefully the microphone weirdness won't be an issue. So let's take it away. And I know you guys will be the ones to let me know how it sounds. So on one side of the screen, we have the Skippy cam. On the other side, we've got the weather graphics. Initially, it was a 2 rounds expected. And now, when all is quiet right now, it's more like a 2 rounds expected with a question mark. The one round that looks very likely is the Tuesday night one. The echo is back. Thank you for that. I just don't know why. I went ahead and toggled off the one microphone. And I think you can probably hear the other one. Or can you? You say back to reverb. I know. It's because I use these same scenes for my other setup, and I should have just made it from scratch. So what I'm doing now is I'm just double checking to see where the microphone is. I think it's just funky with the setup that I have. So my mic, the system mic, question. Background echoing, volume is gone too. Okay. Sorry, you guys, I don't know what the deal is. I guess that probably does the trick. You can probably hear me now. I don't know what I did to mess this thing up, because I had it kind of to where it was working like it should, and now it's being less than ideal. So just figures. I have a knack for turning something that should be very simple and very basic into a big cluster. And I will tell you, when this kind of stuff happens, part of me is like, you know what? Why don't I just not do it? Because it's sometimes more trouble than it's worth. I'm going to hope that it's good enough for government work, and then we'll go from there. And I apologize. I feel like I'm a student who didn't study and didn't do my homework whenever stuff messes up like this. I know you guys are saying it's better now. So, and I'm glad you can hear me loudly, Rod. I toggled off the one of the settings, and so I think what that does is, well, it doesn't matter, just technical stuff. As long as you can hear me, we'll go power through. And meanwhile, I've wasted how many minutes of your life with me being an idiot? I apologize for that. So anyway, the severe weather risk for overnight tonight, I'm very much on the fence with, and I'll show you radar in just a moment so that you can see the one area that might develop into something. It's very much an if. On the other hand, the thing that I am most likely expecting is Tuesday night into Wednesday morning with widespread showers, storms, possibility of severe weather, wind, maybe some hail. Can't rule out an isolated tornado. Cold front comes through behind the front. After that, everything's looking really quiet. And look at this, a stretch through Memorial Day weekend, which historically we know can be really bad. Right now it's looking like it's going to be pretty quiet. So we at least have that to look forward to. All right. So rainfall wise, even though it seemed like we got a lot of rain on Saturday night with the thunder, the lightning, that, it didn't amount to much. There were a few pockets that were exceptions, but Camp Mabry only picked up 1/3 of an inch. The airport picked up less than 2/10 of an inch. Clearly you can see our rain deficits are plentiful. Now, in a perfect world, we would be able to snap our fingers, the rain deficit would go away, and the drought would be gone. This is not going to end the drought. This might be a nice little bandage if it all comes together just so. Currently outside, you know what? It's pretty dry out there across our area. Earlier, the heaviest rain developed through portions of Blanco, Burnett, western Williamson, and western Travis counties, and then moved up to the north. Temperature-wise, it's 56 in Amarillo. It's still 80 in Brownsville, and across the entire country. Yeah, did you hear about the snow out in Colorado? I know. My friend that's there said there was over 1 foot yesterday morning, Sunday morning, and it's all gone now. It's melted, just like that. All right, so here is where the rain has fallen thus far. I'm going to zoom in for you so you can see. Some areas made out pretty well across the Williamson, Travis, and Burnett County area, but it was a pretty narrow corridor right in here. Even some small hail reported. Areas like Liberty Hill and Leander, you were teased by a bit of rain, some very spotty showers close to Georgetown and Sun City, also in the Cedar Park area, but for the most part, the heaviest rain fell in a very narrow corridor thus far. And over the last 4 days, this includes the Saturday rain, there were so many areas out in the hill country where you need the rain the most that basically got skipped altogether. In contrast, the heaviest rain fell through Milam County, where more than 3 inches fell. That was the Saturday night, Sunday morning system. The drought is ever present. We need help. The smoke is actually not too bad. This is the smoke tracker. And you may have heard about Saharan dust. Well, there is Saharan dust. It should inhibit tropical development, at least on the Atlantic side of things. But there are a couple systems that may develop on the Pacific side of things. I'll show you that in just a moment. But don't be discounting the possibility of, once we get past our storm chances, of a little bit of Saharan dust in the atmosphere, making for more brilliant sunrises and sunsets across our area. It can also affect the air quality too, and it does inhibit tropical development. But just know we've reached the time of year where we will be tracking batches of Saharan dust that move out of Africa and across the Atlantic Ocean all the way to the United States. All right, air quality for your Tuesday will be moderate with a little bit of light smoke possible, elevated ozone, and maybe a hint of Saharan dust. Here's good news in the fire department, the fire danger department, rather. We're going to have low to moderate fire danger for a change, which will be kind of nice, courtesy of the cloud cover, the cooler temps, and the rain chances. So let's talk about temperatures. The UT Tower is orange. Congratulations to all of the recent grads. 77 degrees the temperature after the high of 89. And even though there was a little bit of light rain, it was not enough to register, so officially nada in the rain bucket. As we take a look at radar right now, I'll point your attention to some very spotty light rain showers that have tried to develop near Seguin. I mean, it's super light. Will this turn into anything? I don't know, but we'll keep an eye on it. And moreover, what I'm watching is way, way, way out. Way out. See this? Severe thunderstorm warning for a little cell near Monahans and north of Grand Falls. And just for perspective on how far away that is from us, I'm going to grab the handy dandy ruler and we're going to take it to Mason County. We're talking over 200 miles from Mason County. So the question is, and we'll go grab that question mark again, will this hold together and make it to our area? I don't know. Or will something else develop over our area through the overnight? Right now, not looking very impressive, but we'll keep an eye out. Farther to the south, there was hail as large as baseball size earlier. Lots of flash flood warnings and flood advisories still in effect as those storms push down across the coastline. Typically, we'll watch Mexico as a source region for some of our weather makers. In this instance, this system pulled across Mexico and is moving well down to our south, so that's not going to be a factor for us. You may have seen pictures and video of the crazy large wedge tornado, Morton, Texas, west of Lubbock, right just on the eastern side of New Mexico, western side of Texas. A couple of absolutely photogenic in the middle of a field, large tornadoes. Still dealing with heavy rain there and storms. So the question is this, on the tail end, will it do anything? Will it hold together? Will it intensify? Will it push toward us? So that's a possibility, but not a probability. So my confidence at this point is not all that high in us seeing much, if anything, for this first round. Severe thunderstorm reports thus far. Up north, that was where the biggest severe weather was taking place, with numerous reports from Morton to west of Lubbock of tornadoes. And I'll go ahead and show you some of those reports. They typically will pop on here, but that one did not. Maybe I didn't click it well enough. But yeah, check social media. Chances are someone's got a picture of it somewhere out there. But yeah, social media photos, brief tornado touchdown in an open field. It wasn't very brief. There were some storm spotters that were on that thing for a long time ago. Large tornado reported by off-duty National Weather Service employee. Social media video, tornado touching down in an open field. And I like when tornadoes, if they're going to happen, if they happen in the middle of an open field, I'm okay with that because that means less damage and destruction. Another one, tornado in an open field. And then near level land, there was another report of at least a funnel cloud, if not tornado. So that was where the severe thunderstorm activity and the tornado activity was for today, as in for Monday. We could possibly be dealing with very isolated. Oh, they've updated the risks. Okay, here's your Tuesday risk. For Tuesday into early Wednesday, the only change that I see is the previous computer model or the previous Storm Prediction Center outlook was showing Fayette County and Caldwell County also included in the level 2 risk. So the only difference between what was previous is that the level 2 of 5 slight risk has been nudged slightly to the north, but we are still in it across the Austin area. As far as the risks, let me go ahead and show those to you as well. Stand by and I'll pop those up here for you. Oh, I may only have, well, let's take a look. This is the tornado outlook. And as you can see, there is a 5% tornado risk here, which does include Milam County, and a 2% tornado risk for the rest of our area. So, though it is not the primary risk, it is a possibility. Meantime, here's your damaging wind outlook. Everywhere in the yellow is a 15% chance. Farther to the south, it's a 5%. And finally, here is your hail outlook. And the severe hail outlook is the same as the wind outlook with us in that 15% risk. So, one thing that is good to know is we have not been placed in a significant hail, which would be 2 inches in diameter or greater. Instead, we are in a just standard 15% hail risk. We can disregard this one because it hasn't updated yet for Wednesday. Wednesday, the storms will be pushing out of our area. So today, as in Monday's storms, were basically spurred on by an upper level disturbance plus this, a front, which was a warm front trying to nudge northward, and it basically stalled out. And then the risk for Tuesday night into Wednesday will be from this, the cold front that is currently in New Mexico, which will be pressing its way eastward. So those are the two kind of triggers, if you will. Here's a look at computer model guidance, and to be honest with you, it's pretty quiet. Here's 3 a.m., but it does try to at least develop something by about 5 or so in the morning. No guarantees on this. And then by about 7 in the morning, maybe an isolated strong to severe thunderstorm here or there, but more than likely most of us not seeing much. And then the majority of Tuesday, I actually think is going to be just waiting around, kind of like we did most of Monday, just watching and saying, okay, there may be some storms later, but they're not here yet. That's going to be much of the day Tuesday, the way I see things. Should, for some reason, any storms manage to develop during the heat of the afternoon, they might be able to turn into rotating storms. You may recall there was a tornado warning for Lampasas County about 5 o'clock on Monday. And it was, an isolated supercell thunderstorm that was developed pretty rapidly. Never saw a report of a tornado or, for that matter, any severe weather out of it, but it did look pretty nasty on radar at least. Here we go with about 10:30 p.m. on Tuesday night. And the leading edge of the storms ahead of the cold front may be potent enough to bring some pretty good wind, some heavy rain, some hail possible as well. And within these lines of storms, we can't rule out the possibility of some minor spin-ups as well. And when I talk about spin-ups, I'm talking about, rotation. Occasionally, you'll have little, what appear to be little notches, little, like right in here, little notches. And that can be sometimes where there's enough spin for a small tornado to quickly spin up They usually don't last that long. They're typically not terribly strong, but they can happen. So isolated tornado risk is there. The highest tornado risk, as we said, is for Milam County, points off toward the north and east. So just keep in mind from about 10 p.m. Tuesday night through at least midnight, we'll see that leading edge of storms push through. But then even beyond that, we're going to see potential for more storms that will kind of fill in and continue in varying intensities throughout the night, Tuesday night, through around sunrise Wednesday. But by sunrise, that's pretty much the storms are already gone. We're going to have cooler temperatures with wake up temps in the 60s. And the majority of Wednesday looks pretty quiet. There might be an occasional shower or storm that tries to redevelop, but this latest high-res computer model has really backed off on any additional development into the afternoon. So should we break out into sunshine by Wednesday afternoon, we may actually be a little warmer than this 77 degrees. But if we keep the cloud cover for much of the day, then we might see a really unseasonably cool day. Temperatures, at least 10 degrees cooler than average, with highs only in the 70s for one day and one day only. All right, how much rain? Okay, this is not nearly as much, with the exception of Georgetown. Take that with a bit of a grain of salt. This is not nearly as much as what was originally showing up in some of the computer models as storm totals through Monday night into Tuesday. But that has a lot to do with the fact that we don't really have an organized system tracking toward us through the overnight tonight. We may see very little, if anything. But should an isolated storm develop, then it might have the potential to drop some pretty heavy rain. The 2-inch total comes actually, per this computer model, from something around daybreak tomorrow, from about 7, 8 in the morning. All right, then we look ahead to the second round. The second round of rain comes through and it brings more widespread rain to everyone. However, even these totals are quite a bit lower than what originally some of the computer models were showing. We're not going to look at a gift horse in the mouth. Should we only get 3/4 of an inch or a half inch or an inch and a half? That's better than nothing at all. But just know that these totals this is the HRRR computer model and the extended version that goes all the way out through Wednesday evening. And it has backed off on rainfall totals for the most part. I also wanted to show you, just for a second and a third opinion, 2 other computer models. These also showing varying amounts of rain, heavy in some spots. The GFS computer model previously was showing some pockets of up to 6 inches of rain. Now it is still hefty, but not as hefty. You can see that it's indicating 4 inches for Rockdale, nearly 4 inches for Austin, and 4 inches for San Marcos, and even out toward Lockhart as well. Less to the west in the hill country where you need it the most, incidentally enough. Let's look at the European computer model. It shows some pretty good 1 to 3 inch rainfall totals, especially east of the hill country, slightly lower totals in the hill country proper. But either way you slice it, it does at least look like we have potential for widespread rain, potentially heavy. Should it all come all at once, it might be enough for a flood advisory or 2, maybe a flash flood warning for a short time. Now, the Weather Prediction Center hasn't updated its forecast since Monday prior to this overnight system kind of being in a situation where it doesn't look very likely anymore. So this was a previous forecast, but you can see the Weather Prediction Center was all in for widespread 3, 4+ inch rainfall totals possible. As far as your forecast, the hourly forecast through Tuesday, might see some rain showers in the morning, then a little bit of a lull through most of the day, then possibly some showers redeveloping, but the highest potential will be at night, Tuesday night into Wednesday. Here's a look at the statewide European computer model, just to give you an idea of the heavier spots. And as you can see, and this is through the next week, this is all the way through Memorial Day Monday, and the heavier spots here are highlighted in the blue from the European computer model, which I think may not be all the way through, which is why we don't have any rainfall totals on here. But should this be correct, I'm going to assume that it's also backing off on rainfall totals, because the greens are only in the 1/4 inch range, and the blues are generally an inch or less. So we'll have to see how that all pans out. Ignore this, I didn't update it, but we are expecting to see warmer and warmer conditions and average conditions for temperatures and for precipitation. So that brings us back around with 1 minute to spare to the 7-day forecast, which you can see. Oh, and see there, it just shifted. And you can get updates as always on cbsaustin.com. Now, something I did want to also show you, we'll come back over here real quick, is that the National Hurricane Center, and I think I can pop it up right here. Boom. Oh no, it didn't do it. Hold on. Stand by. I have to choose the proper window. And there we go. Okay, so the Hurricane Center has actually highlighted two, not just one, two different systems. Okay, in the yellow, a 20% chance of formation in the next 5 days. And in the orange, a 50% chance of tropical development in the next 5 days. Worth knowing, on the Atlantic side, no new tropical cyclones are expected in the next 5 days. Oh, reverb, thanks. Apologies as always. So anyway, interesting things to watch in the Pacific, especially from the standpoint of maybe something developing out in west of Central America. All right, I am going to call it a night, and again, I apologize for all the issues. It's no fun whenever things don't go right. And Sally, I would turn up the volume if I could, but if I do, I'm going to reverb, so I apologize. Thank you guys as always for checking in, and I think it's a good time to stop before I make more mistakes and before I embarrass myself further.